Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on this Souls-like video game that just recently hit the scenes, Code Vein 2. Now, I haven't really played that much of Code Vein 1, but I will talk on Code Vein 1 at some point in time. But overall, though, I do want to talk on Code Vein 2 because I have a little bit more experience with that game than 1. I played it a little bit more, so... But for those that don't know, Code Vein 2, yeah, it did come out not too long ago. Overall, it's a, like I said, Souls-like video game. For those that don't know what a Souls-like video game is, it's the video games that don't have a difficulty settings for some odd reason. They don't have no starts off easy, gets harder as it goes on. Hard throughout the whole game, alright? Now, Code Vein, what they seem the direction they wanted to go in is that they want to have you go up against some easy enemies at first, and then at some point in time, you end up coming across a little bit more difficult enemy. You know, it might be an enemy where it takes you a little bit longer than the easier enemies. The easier enemies, you could take them out like maybe 3 to 4 hits. And then they might have like a slightly more difficult enemy where you'll have to take them out like maybe 5 to 7 hits at most, maybe, possibly. Then they have the boss enemies where it ain't no telling how long it'll take to take them out. And then what a lot of people like to promote with these types of video games is that there's better weapons to get to take out the more difficult enemies, but it ain't no telling how long it'll take to get those weapons. So you're pretty much stuck, because the thing is this: the normal way of playing this game is just pretty much experiencing whatever you come across first. So whether it's a boss, whether it's a weapon, you're not gonna just, oh, let me just rush all the way to the area where I can get this weapon at. No, I'm just gonna, your average gamer isn't gonna look up videos. They're not gonna read no Reddit posts. They're not even gonna look at no TikTok videos, because that's the thing what a lot of people seem to forget, that everybody is not playing the game the same way. So yes, you being a Souls-like fan, you're gonna have a different way of how you play this game. You are gonna go in there with strategies and overall, you know, with your research and all that stuff. But me, on the other hand, it's like if I play a video game, I'm not wanting to watch the only reason why I will watch videos or content on a video game and look at stuff is if I'm seeing whether or not I want to buy this video game, but not to, well, let me pretty much cheat off of somebody's test in order to have a easier ride in the game. Because if that's the case, what reasons do I have on playing the game? You know, so that's how I look at it. That's how I look at Souls-like video games. But no, for some odd reason, you know, people like going down that route, and I'm like, man, it just doesn't seem fair to the gamer, where it's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to play the game, you know. But anyways, I guess yeah, when you're a content creator, you know, you do have to worry about stuff like that, talking about a video game in a bad way, and then the fans trying to defend it afterwards. But no, so anyways, getting back to Code Vein 2. So I seen that this game was coming out. I was curious about it. Downloaded the demo. Demo crashed on me halfway, because no, that's the Code Vein 2 demo. It's just character customization. So you don't get to fight nobody. You don't get to, because I think in the first demo, or in the first video game, they actually do have it where you get to fight some enemies. Like, it's a little bit more than character customization. But I guess because with Code Vein 2, the character customization is a little bit more deeper in depth, then yeah, that's why they wanted to have it where it covered that rather than the gameplay. I find that kind of weird, because it's like, okay, you and I both know that if, let's say, you would have released this demo a year ago and it kind of had it where you played some of the bosses, or you fought up against some of the characters and enemies, I should say, enemies and some bosses in the game, I think that there definitely would have been a lot of people telling you guys, you're going to need to work on some stuff. But that's the thing, though. Some developers, for some odd reason, they don't like working on stuff beforehand. They want to work on stuff afterwards, and then whatever we talk about, they'll, for some you know, that's the funny thing about it. A game will come out, we'll complain about the number one problem in that game. And I guess with Code Vein 2, the number one problem is that the enemies move too fast. Like, you'll be going up against a boss. Like, there's this one boss that I've been fighting up against pretty much ever since I got the game. named Franz. And they, for some reason, they can like pinpoint where I'm about to go to. And so people tell you that, oh, you need to dodge, parry, do all these, special moves and stuff to avoid getting hit by them. But it seems like it doesn't matter. Like, he'll auto lock onto you, and he hits you mid barrel roll, mid parry, mid dodge, mid whatever, But overall, though, no, but that's like the funny thing with a lot of these games is that they want to develop them or work on them afterwards. And I'm like, fam, you can't go about gaming that way. That ain't even Souls-like video games. That's just almost all video games. But no, so anyways, seen the demo of this game, was played it, the demo crashed, and I was like, you know what, forget it, I'll just go and just buy the game. So I bought it, played a little bit of it, thought it was decent, and then so I bought it on Xbox, and then I realized that the frame rate was kind of low, so I'm like, dang, man, it's like, it seemed like it was running at maybe 60 frames per second or something like that, so I was like, dang, man, like, games play so much better on my PC, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna get my money back and use that money to go and get it on PC, which is what I ended up doing, and the game ran perfect, like, overall. But yeah, the enemies that they had me go up against, it seemed easy at first. I was like, oh, okay, cool, like, I can definitely work with this game, all right? And by the way, I want this episode to be more so directed to somebody that's not a Souls-like fan, not a Souls-like hater, but I guess somebody that is new to the Souls-like video games, and you've seen Code Vein 2, and you're like, hey, I want to know a little bit about this game, all right? Because I know that there's going to be the Souls-like fans where you're going to give people this false hope that the game is good. It's not, all right? That people need to stop doing that, where it's like they hear these types of episodes or they see this type of content and then they want to argue with the person. I'm not trying to hear something that's like, I guess, I'm trying to think of an example or something. It's not, I can't even think of an example. But overall, though, I just feel like that, both sides of the story needs to be told. If we're only hearing the positive, then it's like, okay, well, what about the negatives with the game? Because people are going to want to know the negatives with the game, especially somebody that's new to this video game and they don't really know what they're getting themselves into. Because I would really hate to have it where somebody goes out and buy this game. I say all these good things about it, but I don't talk on the negatives. Now, this person is stuck with the game, and that's how you see a lot of content nowadays, because I feel like that a lot of people are scared to say things about the developers, and I'm like, I would rather do that than to have it where I'm breaking my monitor or breaking my keyboard or breaking my controller or any other equipment that I have. I think that that's what a lot of games are designed nowadays to do, is just to have it where you're raging and going off so people can get clips, or developers can get clips out of the gamers that play their game. And I'm like, fam, there ain't gonna be no developers getting no clips out of me. You're gonna get rants, okay? So, but no, overall though, because my thing is this, there's so many different video games out there where I feel like a lot of people don't play it and they don't want to say anything about it because they're afraid of what might happen. And I'm like, me, I don't care. I'm like, if your game is good, I won't say nothing negative about it. But if the game is bad, I'm gonna say some negative things about it, But overall though, I'm playing Code Vein 2. I'm having a good experience with it. Alright, cool. No biggie, no problem. I'm gonna have fun with this game. Then I come across the boss in there, because there was actually two bosses that I went up against, where one boss, I didn't even die. Second boss, I died once, but, and I think that was just me, forgetting to, I think it was either the dodge or something like that. But overall, though, there's the first boss I had no problems with. Second boss, I died once, went up against them again, killed them. Okay, cool. If this is gonna be this game, and then yeah, maybe at the very end of the game they have it set up where it's gonna probably take me a little while to take out the boss, I don't mind that. See, here's the thing, I don't mind the struggles at the very end of the game. I'd rather deal with that than to deal with a struggle at the very beginning of the game, because the thing is, when you see a lot of different video games nowadays, you see it where it goes beyond that 2-hour mark, and then they have it set up, because with this game, Code Vein 2, I already have, hold on for a second, let me see, I have 4.4 hours into the game, and I'm only on the, so there was, because they don't have it set up where it's like this, linear game where it's like you have to just pretty much like go do one mission, then unlocks another. Like they kind of have it where it's like multiple stories in one, because they have it where your character is time traveling, so you'll have to time travel through like different eras and go up against different bosses. It's a weird way of explaining the story, but a lot of people have been saying, I guess for those that have sat down and played throughout the game, a lot of people have been saying that the story is pretty bland, you know, for those that did beat the game. And that's one thing that I have noticed with Souls-like video games is that, and it's funny because when you think of a game, I guess that's cinematic and it has a good story and it plays out like a Souls-like video game, the one that I always reference is God of War. And I remember looking that up where people was asking, is God of War a Souls-like video game? And there were some Souls-like fans that were saying no, it's not, because it's a cinematic game. And the thing is this, the reason why God of War is not, it can be a Souls-like video game, but the reason why people are considering it to be just a cinematic game is because it has a difficulty settings in there. So for those that don't really know too much about Souls-like video games and you're kind of curious, so you know, so like, wait a minute, these games, that's the idea of the games? Yes. To just go up against the same boss over and over and over again. There is some sort of progression, and that's the jacked up part about Code Vein is that so when you die in the game, so they have it where you don't earn XP like when you hit the enemy and then the XP is automatically given to you. The XP is being held. So pretty much if so when you die in the video game, they have it set up where you lose all of that XP, and you might be able to go back and collect it, but the XP, it's gone, you know. And so you have to start, I think if you exit out, like, so let's say for an example, you're going up against a boss in this game, and then you're dying a bunch of different times, and then you exit out, or you leave because, you know, who knows, maybe you gotta go pick up the kid from school. You can't, well, actually, you know what, no, you can't even pause in Code Vein 2. So no, they do have it set up where the game, it plays out, it's a single player game. And I know people are probably all like, well, wait a minute, what about like this teammate that you have, NPC teammate or AI teammate? And that's the thing, it ain't like the AI, it gets like better as the game goes on. Like they might get a little bit tougher in things, but it ain't like no progressively learning AI where it's like, okay, they are actually helping you out. No, they're not, you know. And the messed up thing about with the Franz boss is that you're locked in with the partner on there, so you can't switch partners, because I've tried and they, for some reason, they won't allow you to, so you're just stuck going up against that one particular partner. But yeah, when you leave the game, you pretty much lose out on the XP that you collected. So it's like whatever level you're on. So me, I think I'm a level 18 or 19 or something like that. I 5 was because I think I was another level. But no, if I had just kept going up against the same guy over and over again, it's like I'm not going to level up automatically. No, I have to like go pretty much cash in. They treat it like it's a casino game. Like you have to get like as much money as you possibly can, and then at some point in time cash out. And that's how you level up in the game, is by collecting the XP, holding it in your pocket up, or I guess if you die, then it's like you can't go back and retrieve it. But then I think they call it haze, that's what they call it. But yeah, it's like you collect this haze, and then you go up to this like it's like a tree or something like this, so like a blue tree. I think they call it like mistle or something like that. But anyways, you go up to it. They have a thing where you that says level up. You click on it, level up as much as you possibly can, and then you and that's the thing too. It claims that it puts your like health and stamina and all these other, it boosts your not statistics, but your attributes for your character and stuff. I still feel like I'm doing, even though I leveled up, like, because that's what I did. I went around, played the game a little bit, then I went back to that boss to go fight him. Same exact situation. Get killed after a few hits, and then and that's the thing too, where it's like your AI companion or something like that. They're fighting them. They're fighting the boss with you, and for some odd reason, the boss doesn't even pay attention to the AI companion hitting them. The boss just automatically locks in onto you. So when you're trying to like, okay, like I'm gonna, you know, jump in and strike at a point, because my thing is this: let's just say you're playing in the position, the POV as the boss, right? If I feel somebody behind me hitting me, I'm going to focus in on them. I'm going to focus in on whoever is closer. And then if there's, whoever this other person is, if they jump in, then I'll, get the fighting with them and stuff. But that's how the game is set up. So the boss, this Fran's boss, so they let's just say that the AI companion manages to distract them, right? So you'll run up, get the swinging on them and all this other stuff. But then eventually at some point in time, the boss will hit you and then it just automatically locks in onto you. So it's like you can try to come up with a million different strategies on how to play the game. Pretty much the only strategy that I've found to have worked out is that you got to get to the high enough or the highest level in the game, get the best weapon in the game. I don't even know what the best weapon is in the game, and I don't even know where to get the best weapon in the game, but you have to get the best weapon in the game and then go up against that enemy where you have a high enough level and your attributes is all high and all that stuff. Then you might be able to go up against this boss and not have no problems with it. And it's funny because when I go onto TikTok, there's this one video where this person, they sounded so defeated mentally going up against this boss, and they finally beat them, and they sounded like they was crying. And that's the thing where I'm like, if that's the goal with the game, and the funny thing is, when you go and watch the trailer of the game, they show all these different enemies, they show all these different cutscenes and all this other different stuff, making it seem like that's what you're going to experience when you play the game. In a way you are, but it's going to be mentally the most tolling video game that you play. Just talking on all Souls-like video games, it's going to be mentally tolling. And then when you finally do beat the game, it's like, fam, that wasn't even worth it. Because the story, and that's the thing with Souls-like video games, even just talking outside of Code Vein 2, but when you look at games like Dark Souls doesn't get talked about for its story. It gets talked about for its difficulty. Same with Elden Ring. A lot of the games, too, that are Souls-like, they all came from, besides this Code Vein game, but they all come from the same company. It's this company, I think they're called, From Software. And they make a lot of different Souls-like games. They came out with, it's like a standalone game for Elden Ring, Night Rain, Armored Core, then of course Elden Ring. I don't know what some of these other games are, but Sekiro, Shadow Dies Twice, Dark Souls, of course. So they made all of the big popular, I don't think they made that Demon Souls game. Is that game even available on... No, it's not. I thought that game was available on Steam. I feel like I looked it up and it was available. Hold on for a second. I could have sworn that game was but they developed that game too, and that was, I believe they said that was the first Souls-like video game to ever hit the scenes and stuff. So, but overall though, it's like no Souls-like video game gets talked about their story, and then the one time where I get involved in the Souls-like video game, Code Vein 2, that it's like people they were saying that the story wasn't all that good, and or they were just like, it's bland, like it's not a story. And when I think of a video game that had a really good story, of course games like God of War, but one of my personal favorites, where in a way it does play out like a Souls-like video game, but Spider-Man. And that's another video game where it's like, it plays out just like a Souls-like video game, but that's the difference between both games, is that they have a difficulty settings and Code Vein 2 doesn't. So with Spider-Man, I guess, and it's one of those things too where it's like with Spider-Man, it's like they do have it set up where it's like, okay, obviously the story is Spider-Man going around New York City fighting crime, beating up bad guys, and then eventually at the end of the story, it's like, okay, like he's satisfied with what he did. Might have gained or not, I wouldn't necessarily say gain, might have lost somebody in the process, but overall though, because I think it was like what Spider-Man, he lost his aunt. And of course, he lost his uncle. But I think in that first Spider-Man game, I think he lost his aunt. And then Miles Morales, I believe he lost his dad. And then in Spider-Man 2, who did he lose in Spider-Man? I feel like he lost somebody in Spider-Man 2. I think he almost lost Mary Jane. I probably just spoiled the video games for everybody. But overall, though, it's like they have it where there's a story to follow. They have it where it's like, okay, this is interesting. And that's one thing where it's like you hear about the combat in Spider-Man, and it's like, oh, the combat is amazing. I love the combat. But also on top of that, too, it's like, because when I played Spider-Man 2, I was like, fam, this game is amazing. This game is dope. I'm like, no, I can have some fun with this game. And it was. It honestly, it was one of those games where I'm like, I wish I can experience it again, for the first time. Because man, it was that good of a game. And that's the thing too. Another difference between Spider-Man 2 and Code Vein 2 is that in Spider-Man, like I was saying, is that they have it set up where obviously the winner is going to be Spider-Man, but it's like if you want to have a little bit of a challenge, I guess, yeah, going back to the difficulty and stuff, then you can change it to where it's like you want the game to be hard and stuff. But overall, though, the ending of this story is Spider-Man is going to come out on top with the Souls-like video games. And then talking on Code Vein 2, that it doesn't even seem like it's about your character. It seems like it's more about other characters rather than your own. And I'm like, okay, am I supposed to progress through the story? Because my thing is this: do you think that how do you think the John Wick movies would turn out if it's a 2.5 hour movie, but John Wick dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie, or if I'm trying to think of another movie or something? But overall, though, yeah, let's just go with that. Do you think you will watch John Wick if John Wick dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie? Because I think a lot of people will probably be all like, okay, this movie is called John Wick. It's supposed to be about him. What am I? And I guess that would be overall. Let's say you look at a lot of different Souls-like games, and ain't like it's like Spider-Man, God of War, or I'm trying to think of some other video games out there where it's named after somebody and stuff. But yeah, and then it's like you look at Souls-like video games, they got Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Armored Core, Code Vein, where it's like it ain't named after the character and stuff. It's just got some old random name that don't even make no sense. So overall, it's like, yeah, it's you realize that it's like it's not about you. So my thing is this: okay, if it's not about me, then why not have it where I'm playing up against the more powerful or whatever, where it's like, okay, the story is going to be more so focused on them, if it is focused on them. But if it's supposed to be about my character, can I progress through the game? So that's what always trips me out about these just Souls-like video games, is that you purposely don't add no difficulty settings. You run with the idea, and I'm like, hold on for a second, let me just see something real quick. Is it hard to develop a difficulty settings for a video game? Let's just see. Thinking, searching. Yes, developing effective difficulty settings for a video game is generally considered difficult and a major part of the design process. It requires balancing, extensive playtesting, and careful planning to ensure the game remains fun and engaging without becoming frustrating or boring, rather than just tweaking. So yeah, overall, so it is difficult, and that's how I view a lot of these Souls-like video games, is that the developers either don't know how, or they get halfway through and they're like, because my thing is this: I think that Code Vein 1 and 2, if they had the difficulty settings and they had it set up where, yeah, maybe not have it where you're beating up the boss in a couple of hits, but yeah, obviously it's an evened out fight. Because my thing is that if I go and I challenge a professional boxer or a professional MMA fighter, or if I challenge a whole football team or basketball team to whatever game that we need to play and stuff, and they're more skilled at me, then it's like, what's the point of me going up against? Because that's the idea of a video game. If we go all the way back to the original idea of the video game, it's a product that we want people to buy. What sense does it make if I buy this product and I can't progress through the product? So you're just kind of, and that's why games like retro video game stores and GameStops, why they made so much money, is because there are games out there where for some odd reason developers are like, oh no, we don't want to add a difficulty setting. It's too difficult. It's too much of this. It's too much. So my thing is this: all right, if you guys don't want to add the difficulty settings, and I don't know if this would really count as a difficulty settings, but why not have it where it's an even out fight, where if they do 10% damage, or yeah, if they take away 10% of my health by a hit, why can I not take away 10% of their health? Why is it like they take away 10% of my health, but I only take away 1% of theirs? Does that seem like a fair fight? And that's even that would be my question to the developers behind Code Vein, Elden Ring, and all these other. With your guys' current boxing skill level, do you think you would be able to go up against Prime Mike Tyson? Because if you say, my thing is this, if you say yes, then I'm like, okay, we need to find not even just prime Mike Tyson. I'm trying to think of a boxer, Anthony Joshua. Do you think with your boxing level right now, do you think you'll be able to go up against Anthony Joshua and actually win the fight, or go into it with the same strategy, mindset that you guys have when you're developing these video games? Because if not, and you gotta go based off of the rules, do you see how much of an unfair fight that is versus, okay, train and then actually, but it's like there's no training stuff to do outside of playing the video game. But it's like, okay, I'm not trying to have it where I'm 16 and 50 in boxing because I'm trying to build up my skill level. You see how silly that sounds? And I just wanted to talk on that because I know that there are going to be people that's going to jump up and say, oh, you're having a skill issue, or it's your skill level and stuff with the video game. And it's like, okay, well, why not have it, instead of just pretty much putting me out in the middle of war? Why not have it where so how long will it take to beat Code Vein? How long will it take to beat Code Vein 2? Let's see. Code Vein takes approximately 30 to 40 hours to complete the main story, with more thorough playthroughs extending 45 to 60 plus hours. So why not have it set up where, okay, so let's just say it takes 40 hours to complete the game. So why not have it where the first 40 hours of the game I'm practicing, I'm building my skill up, I'm getting to the high enough level, versus, okay, let's have it where he goes up against this boss? Because if we're talking realistic terms, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna work out. My thing is this: if I go out in the middle of the wild and and it's just, I sound like a broken record when I say stuff like this, but at the same time, if I do go out in the middle of the wild, I'm gonna be a little bit more prepared. I'm not gonna go out there, with barely any skill level and just be so. And if my thing is this, if what you're saying is that I gotta go play the very first Souls-like video game and every other Souls-like video game just so I can play your guys' game, why not just go and play a game where I ain't got to do all that and I could just buy it that one time? Because I guess for somebody that doesn't really know too much about me, I really like racing games. I like Forza, I like Gran Turismo, I like The Crew, Midnight Club, Need for Speed Heat, not the last Need for Speed. Need for Speed Unbound is horrible, but Underground 2, I would have to say that's probably my favorite Need for Speed game out there. And that's one thing that a lot of these racing games they do have, is that they have a difficulty settings. If they don't have that, they have this it's kind of, well, I wouldn't say it's a newer, it might be, I don't know when exactly this version or this kind of difficulty settings design came out, but I just remember seeing it for the first time when I played Destiny. And that's a game where it's, it ain't really a Souls-like video game, but it has like that idea where you're going up against some boss and things. They have boss fights and stuff. But no, overall though, they do have a set up in that game where if you're a level 1, you're going up against level 1 enemies. And they do have it where you can fight up against like level 10, 20 enemies, and you can be a level 1. But you're not going to do a whole lot of damage. If not, you're not going to do any damage at all. It's going to probably say something like deflected or no damage. I can't remember what exactly it says when immune. I think that's what it says in Destiny. I can't remember what it says in the Division. But yeah, if you go up against a enemy that's more difficult or they have a high enough level, you ain't going to be able to do no damage to them. So, and that's how I feel when I play these games. It's like they have it where it's like, it ain't even like in between. It's pretty much a step back from that, where it's like you're going to do damage, but it ain't going to be a whole lot of damage unless you get to a high enough level. So why not have it where have it where I go up against the more easier enemies first and then the more difficult enemies so I can build my level up. And then when I go against the more difficult enemies, it ain't that much of a challenge. You might die once, might die twice, but overall though, you're going to be able to beat this boss. Rather than it's like, I got to, watch this guy's YouTube video, watch this guy's TikTok video, follow this person on Twitch, read these Reddit posts just so I can kill one boss in the game. Does that sound fun? So that's why, like, when they try to get on me about how I'm criticizing Souls-like video games, I'm like, fam, I'm not saying this based off of 5-10 minutes of playing the game. I'm saying this off of 4 hours of playing the game and not making no progression because they want to have you stuck on some old silly stuff. So that's why I'm like, fam, my thing is this. My advice to Souls-like developers out there, if you want a big audience, because when you look at games like God of War, let's just say that game for an example. God of War is probably bigger than Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Cold Vein. I'm trying to think of some other Armored Core, bigger than every or not Elden, but Souls like games out there. Bigger than them all. Why do you think that? Because the game is playable. And that was one I remember. I played so much of that God of War game and beat it a couple of times. Like, that's how fun it was. But God of War, I think it was Olympus. I think it was that one that came out on the PSP. What God of War game came out on the PSP? It was Olympus, right? I think it was on Chains of Olympus. Okay, yeah, because it was wait a minute, they came out with two Ghost of Sparta. That, I guess they did. Hold on for a second. Well, there's all like PSP. Wow, I did not know that. Dang, that's how good of what is it, Chains of Olympus was, where I didn't even know that they came out with a second God of War game. But if a game is good and it's replayable, and it ain't on no stuff where it's replayable in the sense of going up against the boss a bunch of different times, it's replayable like the story is good, the gameplay is good, everything from the first moment of the game to the last moment of the game, it is good. It's replayable in the sense where it's like, I want to go out my way and replay it. But I guarantee and I promise you, if nothing changes difficulty wise with Code Vein 2, I'm gonna beat this game, and I'm gonna most likely beat 1, 2, and then after that, I'm done. I have no desires on playing the game again, and hopefully Steam has some sort of feature on there in the future where it's like, hey, if there's a game in your Steam library that you don't have anymore, you could give it away. Even if you do have hours, you might not be able to get your money back, but overall though, it's set up on a way where it's like, yeah, you can send the game out to people, and if they don't want to buy it, because Code Vein, after I do beat that game, it definitely would be a game where I'm like, I just wish that we lived in the day and age, and it's funny too, because it's like, you see with digital media, I feel like a lot of people are taking advantage of that, because you don't really see too many. Like, I was trying to find this game on Xbox, and I did end up getting it on PlayStation, but I realized it was the same thing with PlayStation 2 as Xbox, was that the frame rate was pretty low. And so even if you do play it on performance, it was like the frame rate is just it's mad low. Like, it's horrible to play the game on console. I guess if frame rate matters to you, but if it doesn't, then it's like, yeah, play if you want to, or at your own risk. But overall though, but playing it on, but no, that's actually, I was talking on digital media. With digital media, I feel like that a lot of different developers are taking advantage of that, because when you look at a lot of video games that came out back then, it was there wasn't no digital media. There wasn't like PlayStation 2, Xbox, Nintendo 64, wasn't no such thing as digital media. And it was like, yeah, when the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 came out, I think a lot of different developers seen, because I wonder how long was that idea of Demon Souls, because I'm trying to think, when did Demon Souls go into development? Because the Xbox and the PlayStation, Demon Souls began development around 2006-7. So yeah, that was around the because 2000 and what was it? The Xbox 360 that came out in 2005, I think. When wait a minute, when did the Xbox 360 come out? November 22nd, 2005. So I would imagine that these guys were sitting around writing out the idea of, okay, what we gonna have Demon Souls to be, and then eventually, that's when they was like, okay, we kind of have like a plan. Then it was the PlayStation 3, I believe, that came out when, because I feel like I might have accidentally said 5. When did the PS3 come out? It came out in 2006. I guess it did, huh? All right. So I was like, all right. 1 year the Xbox 360 came out, then the very next year the PlayStation 3 came out, and I think they did say that Demon Souls was a PlayStation 3 game. Yeah, it only came out on PlayStation 3. It never came out on Xbox 360. So overall, though, there was like the game is referred to as a spiritual successor to From Software's King's Field series. Is this a game they still play? I wonder if this game is still playable, or it is playable. today. Yeah, they actually don't have it where this game is unless you have like some old computer or PlayStation or something, then yeah, maybe possibly. Because I was gonna say, was this a Souls like video game? But overall, though, dang, I was getting ready to say something that completely just slipped out of my mind and stuff. But or no, digital media. So yeah, it's like when you look back, you've seen where with digital media and digital video games, like there was no, or not even that, with physical copies of a video game, there was no way possible you could mess up with that game. You had one chance, one shot to release this game, and if you messed up, excuse me, there was no way possible you would be able to have a surviving company afterwards. Because if you look at Code Vein 2, how do you think this game would have survived during the PlayStation 2 era? For one, it wouldn't be as difficult as it is, because they know that people would definitely be trying to get their money back, and they will make no money off of the game. So that's why they're like, no, we can't have it where people we don't make no money off of the sales or anything with like GameStops and Best Buy and all that, because it's stuff like YouTube, and that's just crazy to me, where it's like, like, yeah, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have TikTok and Reddit and all these other different websites back when these games was coming out, and then it's like all these games start coming out, and then it's funny how it's like you see how people, they will run to these platforms when these games aren't good, but at the same time though, it's like we can, I guess like if we hearing out people like myself, we can overall hear out the frustrations that a person has with this game. So that's why I'm like, yeah, people always like, I think that's what we're going to title this podcast episode, the negatives of Code Vein 2, because people are like, oh, like what's the positives? The only positive thing I have to say in Code Vein 2 I can say that I like is the character customization. That's it. But as far as gameplay, I mean, yeah, you get a cool looking bike. What else? And there's some weapons in the game that's kind of cool, but other than that, as far as gameplay and like wanting to, Code Vein 3 comes out, I won't be buying it. I got 1, I got 2, that's all that I need to play. The only way I'll play a Code Vein 3 is if they had the difficulty settings come out with the game. But other than that, I will have no desires on playing Code Vein 3 if they do ever decide to come out with a Code Vein 3. So, but it just seemed like that it would that would mess a company up if they were to come out with a video game and the game wasn't good, because I guarantee and I promise you, Code Vein would not, 1 and 2 would not survive. Maybe 1. But if they had like a difficulty settings with the game, then yeah. But it's like I think like if games, and that's why I say Souls like video games ruin some games out there, because now there are developers that think that they have to add this into their game or not add it, and then it's like, oh, that's gonna make our game good and stuff, and it's like, no, bruh, like that, the reason why people play Souls like, and I think that's like, we don't even need to call it Souls like, it's like it's either Dark Souls, games from that From Software company, but other than that, it's like everybody you gotta be different, you gotta be unique. Yeah, when it comes down to the character and customization, or not customization, but gameplay and the story and all that stuff gotta be different. But essentially, if you play Code Vein, if you play Elden Ring, Dark Souls, all these other Souls-like games, Code Vein 2 and 1, there's no reason to play them. It's really the same game as any other Souls-like games out there. You go up against a boss a bunch of different times, get killed, and then repeat the same steps over and over again. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.